If you want success, stop looking at others and start looking in the mirror. The person in front of you is your greatest asset or your biggest liability. Know exactly what you want. Vague goals lead to vague results. Define your purpose with absolute clarity. And once you do commit to it, everything you've got, burn your ships. Make retreat impossible. Don't wait for support. Don't beg for approval. Don't expect a handout. You are not here to be carried. You are here to conquer. The strongest people build themselves. They rise from silence, from sweat, from struggle. Discipline is your sword. Focus is your shield. Cut through distraction. Guard your vision. While others scroll, you work. While they talk, you act. While they doubt you, believe. You will face failure. You will be ignored. You will be laughed at. Let it fuel you. The moment you start working like no one's watching, the world will start watching. Success is not for the lazy. It doesn't belong to the interested. It belongs to the obsessed, the relentless, the focused. Those who choose to sacrifice comfort for greatness. Work on yourself like your life depends on it, because it does. Your mindset, your habits, your decisions. Those are the architects of your future. So grind in silence, win in silence. Focus on your mission. Trust the process. Work harder than you think you can, and then work harder than that. You are the only one who can do it. You are the only one who must now go, and don't look back. If you don't know what you want, the world will decide for you. You will drift. You will wander, and your energy will be scattered in 100 directions, doing 1,000 things that don't matter. But when you decide, truly decide with absolute clarity what it is you're after, every step you take becomes a weapon. Every breath becomes a choice. Every day becomes war with your weakness and a contract with your future. You cannot build anything great with a vague blueprint. Success demands specificity. It demands you say to yourself, this is what I want. I will have it, and I will not stop until I do. That's the fire. That's the point where life begins to move for you, not before. Once you lock onto that goal, everything else becomes irrelevant. The gossip, the distractions, the outside noise, the opinions of those who haven't done a damn thing with their lives, they all fade into the background, because purpose is louder than noise. Purpose silences doubt. Purpose kills hesitation. Purpose rewires your brain to recognize nothing but the path forward, even when it's uphill, even when it's dark, even when there's no one clapping for you, no one cheering you on. You don't need applause. You need to move. You need to build. You need to become so focused on your own growth that the world has no choice but to step back and watch. Forget waiting on someone to believe in you. That's weakness. That's dependency. You want power. Start believing in yourself with a level of obsession that makes people uncomfortable. You want to win. You better stop hoping and start working. There is no shortcut, no easy way, no secret hack. There is only effort directed like a laser. The difference between the average and the extraordinary is not talent. It's focus. It's the refusal to be distracted. It's the refusal to break under pressure. It's the refusal to waste time being jealous, envious, or bitter. You think the people who are winning care about what anyone else is doing? No, they're too busy. They're too locked in. They're too determined to waste a single second comparing. You have to learn to be alone with your mission. Get comfortable with the silence, because that's where the real work happens. You build your body in solitude. You build your mind in solitude. You build your empire brick by brick, while others party, sleep, or scroll through lives they'll never live. This is the sacrifice. This is the grind. And if you're not willing to pay the price, then don't expect the reward. You want to be great, then act like it. Get up earlier. Stay up later. Stop making excuses. Stop blaming your circumstances. Life is hard. Good. That's where growth lives. That's where the real ones rise. While the weak complain, the strong adapt. While the lazy wait for motivation, the hungry show up anyway. You don't need perfect conditions. You don't need everything to be right. You need one thing. Work. Relentless, focused, obsessive work day after day, week after week, year after year. Your results are a reflection of your discipline. Your life is a reflection of your focus. You will not rise to the level of your goals. You will fall to the level of your habits, and your habits are either pushing you forward or pulling you under. So choose. Choose the discomfort of growth over the comfort of stagnation. Choose effort over ease. Choose to build instead of break, to create instead of complain, because every time you choose focus over distraction, you get closer. Every time you say no to the things that don't matter, you say yes to your destiny. It's not supposed to be easy. It's not supposed to be quick, but it is worth it. Every drop of sweat, every lonely night, every sacrifice that makes others question your sanity. That's the price of excellence. That's the tax for greatness. You pay now, so you never have to beg later. You work now, so you can live on your terms, not theirs. You suffer now, so you can lead, dominate, and rise. When others fall, forget the opinions, forget the doubts, forget the setbacks. If it knocked you down, get up stronger. If they underestimated you, stay silent and let your results scream. If you lost time, take back the hours and double your pace. This is not a game. This is your life, and every minute you waste wishing, comparing, or hesitating is a minute you could have used to become unstoppable. So go all in, focus on yourself. Shut out the noise, work like your pure future is watching, because it is, and it's waiting on you to show up. You are all you've got, and that's all you need. Until you accept that no one is coming to save you, you will never rise. Stop waiting for someone to show you the way. Stop leaning on the weak scaffolding of other people's opinions, resources, or permission. You are not a follower. You were not born to depend. You were born to dominate. Everything you've been looking for in others already exists within you. The strength, the discipline, the fire, it's there. But until you decide to stand alone, you'll never know the power you're capable of. Nobody owes you anything, not support, not praise, not a second chance. And the moment you stop expecting, the moment you stop asking, and start doing, everything changes. Relying on others for your success is gambling with your destiny. You are placing your future in hands that don't care, won't show up, and have their own battles to fight. If you want it, you have to take it. If you want to lead, you must be willing to walk alone. If you want to rise, it starts when you stop blaming anyone or anything for where you are, and start holding yourself accountable for where you're going. Self-reliance is not about arrogance, it's about ownership. You own your mind, you own your time, you own your attitude, your actions, and your outcome. If you want discipline, create it. If you want respect, earn it. If you want to change your life, then change what you do with your hours, your thoughts, and your effort. The second you decide that you don't need a crowd behind you to move forward, you become dangerous. The second you realize you don't need to be understood, liked, or accepted to win, you become uns. That's the shift. That's where strength is born, in silence, in solitude, in those quiet moments when you decide you're done begging and ready to build. No one understands your vision like you do. That's why it's yours. Stop explaining it. Stop defending it. Let them laugh. Let them talk. Let them doubt. While they do that, you get to work. While they post, you practice. While they flex, you prepare. And when they see the result, let them wonder how you did it alone. Let them ask where you found the strength. Let them realize too late that they wasted their energy watching instead of working. You will be tested. You will feel alone. You will question whether the grind is worth it. Good. That's the filter. That's the gate between the average and the elite. Most people can't handle silence, can't handle their own thoughts, can't handle the weight of personal responsibility. They look for distractions, for people to blame for reasons why they couldn't, instead of finding a way they can. You're not like them. You don't fold, you forge. You take the fire and use it. You take the pain and convert it. You take the isolation and grow through it. You weren't built to be soft. You weren't designed to be carried. You are the engine. You are the fuel. You are the driver. So drive, get serious about your habits, get ruthless about your time, get obsessed with progress. Don't wait for motivation. It won't come. Don't wait for ideal circumstances. They won't arrive. Just move and keep moving, day in, day out, without applause, without recognition, without the need to be seen, because real power doesn't beg for attention. Real power works in the dark, and let success shine the light. The strongest people don't look strong. They just keep showing up. They build while others break. They create while others complain. They fight when no one is watching, and they win when no one thought they could. They didn't wait for help. They didn't cry about what they didn't have. They started with nothing and decided to become something. That's the level you have to live on. No excuses, no dependence, no safety net, just raw focus and the decision to bet everything on yourself. You don't need more people. You need more belief. You don't need validation. You need execution. You don't need a team. You need a reason. And once you have that reason, once you truly understand why you can't stop, why you won't quit, then there is no obstacle that can stand in your way. You become immune to failure, because failure only exists for the person who gives up. And when you rely only on yourself, you never give up. You adjust. You get smarter. You get harder to break. So stop waiting. Stop stalling. Stop depending. Cut the excuses. Cut the noise. Cut the comfort. Replace it with hunger. Replace it with grit. Replace it with a quiet, cold decision to rise regardless of who's around to see it. That's what greatness demands. That's what your future deserves. That's what you were built for. Most people want it until it gets hard. But the ones who rise are the ones who grind when it hurts. That's the difference. That's the truth. Persistence is not talent. It's not luck. It's not timing. It's a decision. A ruthless daily decision to keep moving forward, no matter how many hits you take, how long it takes, or how tired you are. The people who build legacies are the ones who don't stop when it's boring, when it's quiet, or when it looks like it's not working. They show up anyway. They don't need motivation. They don't need a crowd. They don't need perfect conditions. They need one thing: progress. That's the standard. That's the level. Hard work is not a moment. It's a mindset. It's not what you do when you feel good. It's what you do when you don't. Discipline is when you show up with the same fire, whether the world's clapping for you or spitting in your face. That's when it counts. When no one sees, when no one cares, when it's cold, dark, and lonely. That's where winners are made. That's where champions are carved out of chaos. They build in silence and break through in front of the... Everyone wants to win until they realize how much it costs, how many sacrifices it takes, how much energy it demands. You want to be relentless. Then stop looking for easy. Stop praying for shortcuts. Stop complaining that it's hard. It's supposed to be hard. That's why most people don't make it. That's why most people quit. That's why it's rare. You don't become elite by accident. You don't stumble into greatness. You don't reach the top by doing what's convenient. You earn it through consistency, through repetition, through painful levels of effort. That would break the average man. But you're not average. You don't need breaks. You don't need pity. You need results. You need progress. You need to bleed for what you believe in. Because if you're not willing to go all in, then don't expect anything back. Don't expect success to show up for you when you only give half. Don't expect your dreams to come to life when you won't even put the hours in. Every great outcome is built on the back of persistence, not once, not twice, but again and again and again. When it fails, when it falls apart, when it feels like nothing is working, that's when you press harder. That's when you double down. That's when you stop caring how you feel and start caring about what you're building. Your goals don't care if you're tired. Your future doesn't care if today was hard. It only responds to work. And the reason you're not there yet isn't because you're not good enough. It's because you haven't outworked the problem. Yet you haven't shown the universe that you're willing to go farther than anyone else. You think it's supposed to feel fair. You think effort always pays off instantly. It doesn't. Not at first. Not when it matters. There are times when you will give everything and see nothing. That's the test. And most people fail. If they fold, they retreat, they slow down, because results didn't show up on their schedule. But not you. You don't back off. You double up. You don't look for proof that it's working. You create the proof with sweat, with pain, with persistence, so ruthless that even when you fall, you land forward. Hard work is not an event. It's a way of life. If you're serious, you don't try, you train. You don't dabble, you commit. You don't hope, you execute. You set the bar higher every day. You attack the hours that others waste. You don't fear failure. You expect it and keep pushing. You don't stop when it's hard. You hit another gear. That's what separates you. Not talent, not background, just raw, violent consistency. You keep showing up when it's boring. You keep showing up when it's painful. You keep showing up when it looks like it's not working, because you know one truth, that weak people never understand the work always works, just not always on your timeline. So keep going, keep building, keep grinding. When it would be easier to quit, persistence rewrites the rules. It bends reality. It breaks barriers. It forces doors open that stays shut for everyone else. But only if you refuse to back down. Only if you refuse to slow up. Only if you keep rising, even when nothing around you tells you it's working. That's how champions think. That's how winners breathe. They don't take days off. They don't take shortcuts. They don't pray for lighter loads. They train for stronger backs. Every second you waste hoping for easier, you could be building better. Every minute you spend avoiding the hard parts is a minute you're falling behind. So own the work, own the suffering, own the pressure, and keep moving forward, even when your legs shake and your vision blurs, because that's the difference between people who talk and people who finish. That's the line between average and unstoppable. You cross that line with action, with effort, with work that no one sees, but everyone feels. When you arrive, the loudest voices in your life are usually the ones who've done the least. Let that sink in. The critics, the doubters, the ones telling you to slow down or be realistic. They've never built anything. They've never carried the weight. They've never stared down the darkness and chosen to keep moving. They haven't done what you're trying to do, and they never will. That's why you can't listen. That's why you have to shut it out. Because if you let the noise in, it'll infect your focus, kill your ambition, and slowly convince you to settle for less than what you were born to be. You don't have time to entertain opinions that don't pay your bills. You don't have energy to waste explaining your vision to people who don't have the courage to build their own. The world is filled with static. Everyone's talking. Everyone's posting. Everyone has something to say, but almost none of it matters. You want to win? Then get quiet. Tune it out. Get so locked in on your mission that you don't even notice the noise. The moment you stop caring what the world thinks is the moment the world starts paying attention. You don't need to be liked. You need to be legendary. People will criticize what they don't understand. They'll mock what threatens them. They'll try to pull you back because your rise makes them feel exposed. You becoming more forces them to confront the fact that they are still the same. So they throw words. They throw doubt. They throw shade. But words can't stop you unless you let them in. The enemy isn't the noise. It's your reaction to it. Train yourself to walk past the barking without breaking stride. No one building anything worthwhile is sitting around tearing down someone else. Let the critics talk. You're too busy working. Distractions are everywhere. Cheap entertainment, fake urgency, people who want your attention but don't deserve your time. All of it is noise, and it's not just stealing your focus, it's stealing your future. Every time you check what they think, you lose sight of what you think. Every time you care more about looking successful than being successful, you give the noise power. But you weren't built for that. You weren't made to fit in. You were made to lock in. You were made to break rules, break limits, and break through. You don't need updates. You need silence. You need space. You need wartime tunnel vision, where the only thing that exists is the goal. Silence is a weapon. Solitude is a weapon. Clarity is a weapon. And the reason most people never win is because they're too distracted to even know what winning means to them. They're chasing applause. They're chasing status. They're chasing relevance. But relevance doesn't pay off results. Do impact. Does legacy. Does. And that doesn't come from scrolling, from pleasing, from adjusting your mission every time someone has a different opinion. It comes from choosing your direction and never looking sideways again. If someone hasn't done what you're trying to do, their opinion holds no weight. You wouldn't take swimming lessons from someone who's drowning, so why take advice from someone who quit on their dreams? You don't need validation from people who never had the guts to get in the arena. Their noise is weakness, dressed as wisdom, and you let them doubt. You let them misunderstand you. Let them talk. You are not here to be understood. You are here to win. You are here to evolve. You are here to outgrow, outwork, and outlast every limitation they try to put on you. The second you start moving with confidence, instead of consensus, your life will change. The second you decide to value peace over popularity, you will find power. Not everyone will clap for you. Not everyone will support you. That's part of the process. You don't need a choir. You need commitment. You don't need cheerleaders. You need conviction. Keep your eyes on vision. Keep your ears closed to the nonsense. You're not in this to be seen. You're in this to conquer. You're not in this to entertain followers. You're in this to lead, to build, to dominate. Focus is a competitive advantage. In a world addicted to distraction, everyone's looking everywhere. But where it counts, everyone's chasing noise, while the few, the obsessed, the focused, are stacking wins in silence. That's where you want to live. That's where the results are. Don't argue. Don't explain. Don't debate. Just work, just improve. Just execute. Make your progress so loud that their opinions disappear. Make your discipline so consistent that their doubt can't keep up. Make your rise so undeniable that the same people who ignored you now ask how you did it. You don't owe them a response. You don't owe them access. You don't owe them anything but silence. That's the language of the focused. That's the posture of someone who knows where they're going and isn't looking for directions from people stuck in place. Let them talk. You keep building. Let them doubt. You keep grinding. Let them laugh. You keep rising. Because noise can't stop someone who's already decided they're going to win. No matter what your thoughts are, the factory of your future. And if you don't control them, they'll control you. That's where it starts. Not with action, not with strategy, not even with work ethic, with thought. Every outcome in your life was first born in your mind. Every failure, every victory, began with a belief. Weak thoughts produce weak results. Scattered thinking leads to scattered outcomes. So if you want power, start by disciplining your mind, like a weapon. Because your thoughts left undisciplined will talk you out of greatness before you even begin. You can't afford doubt. You can't afford fear. You can't afford distraction. You have no room for the mental clutter that most people let run wild in their heads. So if you want to win, then you lock your mind like a vault. You choose your thoughts the same way a warrior chooses his weapon, deliberately, precisely, ruthlessly. No more emotional chaos. No more second guessing. No more letting your brain drift into fantasy, fear, or failure. You hold the line. You own the narrative. Because if you don't lead your mind, it will follow anything loud enough, toxic enough, or tempting enough to destroy your focus. The mind undisciplined is lazy. It takes the easy route. It looks for excuses, distractions, comfort. But when you train it, when you force it to focus, to believe, to stay locked in on the mission, it becomes your greatest weapon. You don't get to think like everyone else. and expect to live differently. You don't get to entertain weakness in your mind and expect strength in your actions. Every time you allow negativity, doubt or fear to sit in your mind, retreat, you're giving away territory. You're giving up leverage. You're handing the enemy your sword. This is war, internal war, mental war, and if you don't show up ready to battle your own limitations daily, you lose before you even face the world. That voice in your head that says, slow down, you're not good enough, you'll never make it. That's not you. That's programming. That's noise you picked up from people who gave up. You rewire it. You override it. You replace it with truth, with belief, with the language of winners. And that language is built, not found. Built by discipline. Built by effort. Built by flooding your mind with purpose, repetition, and ruthless clarity where you're going. Most people live in reaction mode. Whatever the world throws at them, they absorb it. News, opinions, judgment, fear, they let it all in, and then wonder why they feel anxious, lost or stuck. Not you. You move with intention. You think on purpose. You don't absorb. You choose. You filter every input. You decide what lives in your head, what deserves your attention, and what gets blocked at the door. That's the standard. That's the discipline. Because the undisciplined mind is easy to break, but the trained mind becomes unstoppable, resilient, focused, lethal. Every breakthrough begins with the decision to think higher. Every shift in your life starts when you stop allowing emotional chaos to sabotage your focus. Control your mind, and you control your emotions. Control your emotions, and you control your behavior. Control your behavior, and you control your results. It all starts with the way you think. When no one's watching, it starts in the silence, in the pressure, in the doubt. That's where you either fold or forge. That's where your future is, won or lost. Not in the big moments, but in the small decisions of what you let dominate your mental space. And here's the truth. You will never rise higher than the level of your thoughts. So train them, discipline them, put them through reps, like you would your body, daily, consistently. No skipping, no slacking. Flood your mind with truth, with strength, with belief. Systems that support the level you're building toward. That's how you build unshakable clarity. That's how you create mental armor. That's how you stop reacting and start committing. It's not about positive thinking. It's about powerful thinking, accurate thinking, focused thinking, strategic thinking, thought that leads to action, and action that creates results. Nothing changes until your mind changes. No amount of grinding, hustling, or moving will create a different life. If the thoughts behind that movement are broken, you've got to align it. You've got to train it. You've got to discipline yourself to think like a builder, a winner, a leader. That means cutting out thoughts of limitation, fear, laziness, and self-pity. The second they show up, not entertaining them, not dancing with them, crushing them, replacing them, choosing strength every single time, because weakness always starts in the mind, and so does power. You don't need to be smarter, you need to be sharper. You don't need more motivation, you need mental discipline. You don't need a new plan, you need to stop letting your thoughts pull you off the one you already committed to. Master your mind, and you master your mission. That's how you stay locked in. That's how you stay dangerous. That's how you become untouchable. Not because life gets easier, but because your mind gets stronger. Not because the obstacles vanish, but because your thoughts refuse to be shaken. And when your thoughts are built like steel, everything around you bends. Faith without movement is fiction. If you believe, then you move. If you're convinced, then you act. It's that simple. You don't wait for the perfect time. You don't wait for proof. You don't wait for the path to light up. You take the first step, and then you take another, and then another, no matter how dark it is, because that's what faith looks like in real life. Not wishing, not hoping, not sitting around talking about potential, but stepping forward, when there's no guarantee, except the one you've decided to create, through sheer force of effort. You say you believe in your vision, then show it back, it up with sweat, prove it, with execution. Faith isn't loud, it's disciplined, it doesn't scream, it shows up, it doesn't beg, it builds. Most people say they believe, but their actions prove otherwise. They talk about what they want, but they move like they're unsure. They say they're all in, but keep holding on to their backup plan. That's not faith, that's fear, with a costume on. Faith is when you shut the door to retreat, and light the fire that says, I'll make this work, or I'll die trying. You can't build anything with just belief. Belief is the fuel, but action is the engine. You don't get results by imagining them. You don't hit goals by dreaming about them. You hit goals by aligning your behavior with your vision, ruthlessly, relentlessly, consistently. That means doing the work when it's hard. That means showing up when no one claps. That means staying focused when it looks like nothing's happening. That's the space where faith separates from fantasy. That's the space where winners are made. Faith without action is empty. It's cheap. Anyone can say they believe, but only the disciplined, only the obsessed, only the ones willing to bleed for their vision will actually bring it to life. You don't get to sit and wait for your time. You create your time by deciding this is it, and then acting like it. And if you don't have the courage to back up your faith with real unshakable action, then what you have isn't belief, it's just a wish. And wishes don't win. Work wins. Movement wins. Ruthless commitment wins. If you're serious, you don't wait for motivation. You don't wait for the right energy. You don't wait for conditions to be perfect. You decide, and then you act like it's already yours.
That's the difference.
That's how people rise from nothing. They see the future so clearly that their current reality has no power over them. They don't care what it looks like. They care what it's going to look like. And they act with that level of certainty. They speak it, walk it, live it before anyone else sees it. That's the kind of faith that moves mountains. That's the kind of faith that builds empires. But here's the truth. It's going to feel like it's not working. It's going to feel slow. It's going to feel lonely. That's part of it. That's the pressure that either breaks you or shapes you. You will question everything. You will face silence. You will fight self-doubt. But if your actions are rooted in belief, you will keep showing up. You will keep building. You will keep pushing through resistance that would crush the average person. That's the power of faith. When it's backed by grind, you're not just hoping, you're proving, you're earning, you're building the outcome. With every move you make, people will try to talk you out of your path. They'll question your pace. They'll tell you it's not realistic. But faith, backed by action, doesn't need permission. It doesn't need applause. It doesn't wait to be
It just works quietly, consistently.
It doesn't get distracted by noise, setbacks, or small minds. It keeps going because it knows where it's headed. It trusts the process. It respects the work. It holds the vision, even when everything else is shaking. That's what separates leaders from followers, builders from talkers, the uncommon from the ordinary. Every time you take action, you're sending a message, not to the world, but to yourself. You're proving that you're not just interested in your vision, you're committed. You're proving that your belief is real. You're building proof, brick by brick, rep by rep, day by day. And that proof compounds. That proof stacks. That proof turns faith into results. And once that happens, the same people who ignored you will ask how you did it. But the answer is simple. You moved before you had it. You built before you saw it. And you acted like it was already yours, until it was there. Is no magic there. Is no there is no magic. There is no there is only belief followed by behavior. And behavior is what the world responds to. You can scream about your goals all you want, but if your habits don't match your ambition, the world